Good afternoon, friends and fellow travelers. It's Brandon and Ash and Winston are here also. Today we are visiting Kinnickinnic State Park in Wisconsin, close to home, taking a break from our scenic byway adventures. Here we are, exploring one of Wisconsin's great state parks. And there's our first initial view. So the actual state park with the main overlook is a little bit down the road. We'll look at that here in a little bit. But near River Falls, Wisconsin, here we are visiting one of our state parks that's close to where we live. I'm guessing this is one of the more realistic fishing locations in this park, as we're right next to the river, and it's flowing nicely today. So this state park signifies the joining of, or the confluence of, the Mississippi and the St. Croix rivers near River Falls. A short drive for us. This state park, of course, they decided to protect it as it's a special area where that confluence is. 3 families donated land to make this state park. And the beauty that we see today. There's a few overlooks in this park. Water is flowing nicely. I haven't been to this side of the park. Now, I brought Winston, I want to say last fall, just him and I. And we ran into a flock of wild turkeys and loved that. That was an experience with a beagle trying to chase turkeys down. Water's clear. Let's see what the temp's like. All right. It's probably close to 60 today in May, as spring is finally starting to hit. We're starting to see blooms finally. Now here in the Twin Cities area, it can still frost in May. It can snow in May. So I'm not saying we're out of the woods yet. However, it's starting to feel like spring. Yesterday was kind of a junky day. It was in the 40s, just to put that in perspective for you. So it does definitely still have little winterish blasts here and there. Right next to the river. I'd love to explore more of this Kinnickinnic River, and definitely a great kayaking spot. Lots of cars parked here today. It's Saturday, but a beautiful sight. Hope everyone is having a great weekend. We appreciate you all watching and liking, commenting, subscribing, and joining us on our adventures. So there is a fisherman down there. This is a postmark picture. Wow. One more look at this spot before we head on to the main portion of the park. The river's flowing today. There's a hidden waterfall in this park that I want to find out how to get to. That's a little bit of a hike. Understandably named the Hidden Falls Trail. There's a big overlook with a selfie stand that Wisconsin puts in for pictures. I'll show you that here in just a minute. And explore a little bit of what this area has to offer. There's a nice little bench you can sit on a little bit further up the river. And here soon we'll get back to our journey on that scenic byway. on our first scenic drive ever, as we finally finished that series. The view from under the bridge. Can go a little bit of a distance this way, I guess. I don't know. Taking a gander up that other direction. Not a huge state park, but a scenic one. Filled with opportunities for adventure, for water recreation, for hiking, for relaxation, for picnics. Lots of opportunities to step aside from busy life here and enjoy. Walking along the other direction, near the swift flowing Kinnickinnic River. Another fisherman. The other side heading back towards the bridge. A beautiful day. And we're back at the main overlook area. And my friends, I stand corrected. I don't know why I said the Mississippi and the Kinnickinnic. It's the St. Croix. So that scenic, that river that we follow along on our scenic byway journeys, that is the river that connects the Kinnickinnic in this park. And this is their picnic area, one of the main ones. There are a few. There's campgrounds. And lots of trails in this area. So I was chatting with the park ranger and figured out that hidden waterfall, and I put quotations around that, is a spring, and it's in the Red Trail area of the park, which is not necessarily connected to this main location. However, it is dried up because of a low snowfall year. So there's not a lot of water there right now. After conferring with the folks at the office. So we're coming up to the overlook now, and I have taken pictures here before for Instagram. But it's a beautiful location where you can see the confluence. And it's a beautiful Saturday. Temperatures are warming up. It's definitely feeling more like May. Boats are out on the St. Croix. It's not frozen. Kinnickinnic State Park for public enjoyment of the Kinnickinnic and St. Croix rivers. It's 1964. So threatened by encroaching development. No drones here. It is clearly letting us know they are not comfortable with that. And here's that main overlook. Down there flowing is the Kinnickinnic River. That way, we just were down that direction and connecting to the larger St. Croix area. Delta Overlook. So floodplain, there's an island that pops up that you can just see some of the grasses from right there. And there's a low-flying plane. See if we can capture him flying over. Yep, coming into view. Everybody's out today. And freshly after getting dirt kicked on me by the dog, here we are on the purple trail. Now, if memory serves me right, this connects to a prairie that you walk through. I'll probably spare you guys the Red Trail section if it's not worth going to the spring that's not flowing so well right now. But there are many beautiful hiking locations in this area. Now, the ranger said that trail is worth hiking. However, it's 3 miles for hidden falls, and if they're not flowing right now, maybe that'll be a future endeavor. As always, $13 for Wisconsin plates, $16 for out-of-state plates. It's almost better to get a yearly pass because that's only like $28 for the year, as opposed to $13 for the day if you're a resident and $16 if you're not. So almost more reasonable to get the yearly pass, which I guess, with considering the National Parks Pass and that sort of thing, makes sense. Now, this prairie up here is beautiful when foliage is in peak season. I hiked it early in the morning with Winston and soaked my shoes with all the morning dew. But it was a pleasant little morning walk. It was totaled about 3 or 4 miles. And then Winston was tired, so we finished our day here with a few pictures. And it was a nice fall adventure in this park. Up here close to where we ran into our great turkey fiasco. And I don't mean to underplay it. It was at least 20 or 30 of them. And Winston wanted to be a turkey that day and follow them into the wilderness. This goes down to the beach. No pets permitted on the beach at this park, unfortunately. Otherwise, go down there and take a peek for you. But we'll continue on the trail. Purple for now. Little valley has started down off to the side of our trail. Right next to that paved walk that takes you to the beach. That also starts from that parking area that we parked at today. Not as much bird chirping as I'm used to. We saw a huge blue jay fly across the trail. But not to the normal extent that we've had the last couple of parks that we've explored. Definitely warming up. Kind of nice to feel a little warmth. No, Ash is happy about that. She is not a fan of the long Wisconsin winters that we have. Even if we didn't get that much snow this year. Winnie, Winston. Hey, dude. How you doing? Hi. Winston is so excited to go on these adventures with us. He literally stands up on the car seat in the back of the car, panting. He gets himself worked up on the journey to the park. Flowers, finally. Can't believe it. Butterflies of Wisconsin. Clouded sulfur. And now I hear a woodpecker chipping away at something in the distance. That's a nice trail that eventually leads to a prairie. And in the summer, you know, those prairie trails, which we have so many of them, it almost makes me feel like it's like Nebraska. Have so many wildflowers to look at. Perfect for a summer walk. early in the morning. Continuing on to the yellow trail now, which connects over to that prairie that we'll see here shortly. A similar route to what I did really early in the morning, and it was a little chilly in the fall. Serene. This park is not very busy. At least in this portion. I mean, I'm sure a lot of folks go down and swim in the St. Croix. I mean, we do ourselves in Hudson quite often. There's a beach here, and I guess if you're paying for the yearly pass, that's worth it. But I feel like all of the trails here, and conferring with the map we were just looking at, all the trails here are about a mile long, with the exception of that Hidden Falls Trail, which was renamed. All of them are about a mile long. And if you look at the map of this park, it considers that to be in the Red Trails area, which, looking at the state park map, it puts all those red trails together for 10 miles. Of course, you can do as much as you want. So now another confluence. The green trail goes that way. I've never taken the green trail. The yellow trail here that goes through the prairie. And it transitions to walking on grass. And that's why I had soaked shoes early in the morning with the dew. And you can see as we come up to the prairie crossing, I was almost half tempted to even take my shoes off and walk across. But here's knocking another Wisconsin State Park off together, because we haven't been to this park together. I just brought Winston here on a short little morning walk, and I'm glad we were able to make it back here together. Over in that direction off to our left is where the river is that we saw from the overlook, and then over to our right is the park road and another parking lot where you can access some more of the trails. I feel like if it was much warmer, it's definitely getting into the 60s now. I feel like if it was much warmer, it would be kind of uncomfortable doing this trail. It'd be warm. The sun is shining right on us here at midday, and it definitely would be pretty hot. And it's supposed to get hot here for a couple of warm here for us into the upper 70s the next few days. So definitely starting to feel that late spring feel. Thank you for joining us, friends, on another adventure. Appreciate all the support constantly across our different platforms here, Instagram. We appreciate all the support, and more to come for us. Looking back where we came from, lots of prairies we've been hiking on recently. Ash came here to do some pictures, but hasn't extensively taken a look at the park. Now along a more wooded section, on one side at least. Now you can start to hear the sparrows chattering. Looking out back across the entirety of the prairie, and a nice trail. Easy, as most of them are designated in this park. You can even see the moon up there, actually, peeking through the trees. Turned out to warm up today. I guess it's May now, so we should expect the temperatures to finally come up. Although this area, like I mentioned earlier, is known for the every once in a while May snowstorm. Soon we'll get back up to Taylor's Falls and start heading north in Chisago County and then up to Pine County, closer to Duluth. Definitely have to make it back up towards that area and get to Banning before the mosquitoes get too bad. I know somebody last video caught my mosquito capital of the world comment unofficially, and I mean I don't rescind that. It definitely was crazy that day. Of course that probably truly goes to Congaree National Park, but it was quite the adventure mixing the trails with the mosquitoes. And there are some beautiful parts of that park. A little more shady in this portion. Wooded. Things are finally starting to pop up for the season. Starting to see early leaves and a few blooms here and there, and you're starting to get the smells of different plants and trees. It's just starting to come alive more, and it makes you really think that we're getting towards summer. Realistically, it's early May, so we probably still have some cold nights ahead of us before that happens. But we both look forward to that time of year when we can go swimming, and although it's short-lived here, it's nice to experience it. Nice to still be able to get in the river when we want. This is where the purple trail connects, and this is our orange trail connects, and this is another picnic area with a parking spot. We were walking along, and some kind of an old pump. Does it actually work? That's cool anyway. Right. Another picnic area. So there are quite a few opportunities to have lunch. We should have packed a picnic today, quite honestly. But we didn't think about it because we left a little late. Some red flowering blooms starting to open up. Hunting allowed at property. All legal hunting and trapping. Huh. You don't hear about that usually in state parks. They must have overpopulation of some kind.
Turkeys.
Yeah, definitely probably turkeys. I mean, no joke, 30 of them walking across the trail that day with Winston. I would have loved to get that on camera for you guys. 30 turkeys walking across the trail. It was an interesting experience. It was a loud experience as they were making all sorts of screeching and gobbling sounds, and Winston was on high alert as he's very particular about his dad. Loves to protect me. Lots of places where trails connect here. Lots of pine. Not in some kind of a drainage. I was curious what that was. Some kind of a drainage system. Looks outdated for sure. Down, around, and out. Again, back towards that trailhead that we started this yellow trail on. Orange connects over here also. Relatively quick walks though. They're not long trails here. unless you get yourself out in that red section and you really start early and commit to doing that whole section, you're not going to have trails here that are going to take all day. So that's nice, and they're all easy. They're not going to be huge altitude gaining trails and step offs and rock faces. It's a very easy park to hike and enjoy. Of course, a lot of these trails look to be sledding trails when the winter season is here. Winston's all tired out now. He just had a barking match. Too friendly for his own liking, and that tired him out. He's ready to go home now. Hasn't been this warm in a while, so he's probably wondering what's the deal. And a slight downhill, as we're just about back to that trailhead where we met the purple trail with the yellow. I know it's lots of different colors unless you look at the map, so it can be a little confusing, but they have maps kind of located at most trail crossings, so that's very helpful to make sure you don't get on that blue trail and head all the way towards the trail or the state park office when you are staying close to the beach and the main parking area. Dense woods between here and the prairie. Not a cloud in the sky today. It was all rainy yesterday. And now? Nope. As I'm speaking about it, here is one of those examples of a map. So we went this way and went all the way around yellow. So there's green, like I said, blue, that goes back around all the way to pink and the angler's lot where we stopped at. So there's lots of options for trails here. We opted to take the purple trail all the way back to the parking area. And this is where orange ends. They say the orange trail is more difficult, but it's only half a mile, and it kind of wraps around in a crescent shape near the yellow trail. So lots of these trails very close to each other, and you can very quickly take a deeper dive into this park, get closer to the water, and kind of see what this Kinnickinnic State Park has to offer relatively quickly if you get out on the trails. That red trail area might take you a little bit more time perhaps, but other than that, very accessible trails, very accessible parking lots, ample parking. It's not even that busy today. There might have been 10 cars in the lot, and definitely room for a lot more people. So I'm curious if you come out here on a day that's hot and there's lots of potential for swimming, how busy it gets. Because I have been here on a late summer, early fall day. Early though, before swimming hours, and the river is through there. Although small, it is over to the left. As this is our last little section for today. A couple of things upcoming. It's a bunny scurrying off at Winston, going up on 2 legs there. Fort Snelling here soon. We were going to do Fort Snelling today, However, that park's going to take a little bit more time to dive into the actual historic fort, the Dakota Memorial, walking along the Mississippi River there perhaps. It's going to take a little bit more time, and primarily the reason we didn't go there today is Winston was hyped up and ready to go on an adventure, and they don't allow dogs other than on the trails there. So Fort Snelling State Park, very historical for the military development there, but you can't take your dog unless they're a service animal, so be wary of that. A very popular state park in Minnesota for its location in South St. Paul. The common wood nymph, butterflies of Wisconsin. A few of these signs along the vast trail system of this park. Yeah. Purple trail is new to me in this section. I usually take the yellow back, but I was hoping to get another view of the river through these trees, and just a different perspective. I haven't taken the blue trail over towards their sledding hills. I haven't gone over to the pink area or the red area of this park, but we have stopped in the fishing locations where there are more primitive trails, and you can see the anglers right along the Kinnickinnic River fishing. And my friends, we return to the parking and picnic area here. And with that, our adventures here at Kinnickinnic State Park are going to draw to a close. It's a shorter one in comparison to recent videos, and that happens as this was just exploring briefly the state park. It's not very large, so we did encompass a lot of it today. The river can be seen through there. But we're going to get to Fort Snelling here soon and get back on that scenic byway. We appreciate all the support, liking, subscribing, and commenting on the videos, and following us over on Instagram, where we share more of a photogenic side of just who we are and our adventures. Any comments, dear? Did you enjoy a hike today?
Yeah.
So we had a great day today. We appreciate you all watching. For Ash, for Winston, the kiddos, I'm Brandon, and we'll see you on the next adventure.